More than 95% of all traders quit trading in the first year for some reason. Think about it. With all the free information that we have 24/7, with all the endless indicators that should help us, more than 95% of all traders quit. Think about it. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Why? Hey there, Tamir from FibonacciTraders.com here with the daily market recap. Without any further ado, please hit the like, subscribe, share with friends. Let's it. Trend lines are the true support resistance for price action. As we can see on the SPY daily, this blue trend line since February's highs, every time price action reached, tried, got rejected and failed to break up and above the trend line. Not surprising, also today's highs was almost to the penny on this trend line together with the 399 area. Let's see if 394 can hold and bulls will try once again and finally can break up and above towards 403, or if they will give up, 394 will fail to hold the support, 388 and maybe all the way back to this red trend line. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think, bulls or bears? QQQ basically moving sideways between the 308 and the 313 area. Very hard to try and trade this kind of choppiness, side move. So we need to wait for market to decide where it wants to go on the Qs. Long above 313, 314, short below 308. Going to retest this yellow trend, and of course always do your own due diligence. Never follow anyone on social media. Follow, learn, but don't follow blindly. Do your own due diligence. IWM bounce off this green trend line above the 170 once again, but this is a very tough trading conditions on the IWM, bouncing between the 170, the 176, dojis, inside candles, indecision in the market. So if the market cannot decide, we surely cannot decide. Dow Jones, same thing, bouncing between the 315, 325, somewhat tight price range, but we also see red trend line to the downside, blue trend line to the upside, lower highs, lower lows, downtrend on the Dow Jones. For now, it's bear's market. Bitcoin on the daily, another great example of why trend lines are the true support resistance for price action. We have this trend line. If you follow me on Twitter and you saw previous videos, you know all these trend lines, you know all these levels, and we said that if bulls will give up trying to break up and above this trend line, and for now it seems that they gave up. Look how many days they tried and failed to break up and above and close above this trend line. Now 26,500 needs to hold together with this red trend line. This red trend line was a very tough resistance, so now we expect it to hold as a very strong support. If it will fail to hold, we have all the levels, all the trend lines to the downside for future support. In the end of the day, once we understand in-depth candlestick analysis, the relationship with trend lines and Fibonacci, we can trade any crypto, any ETF, any stock, and any time frame. In the end of the day, it's all about price action. Ethereum, with this broadening formation, we drew several days ago. Now we can see Ethereum bulls looks like for now they gave up on this trend line, going down. 1690 needs to hold because only by looking left we can see it was a very tough resistance. Now it needs to hold as support. Failing to do so, we look at the future potential support Fibonacci levels to the downside. XLE looks like this red trend line is a very strong support, as we drew it several days ago, several weeks ago already. Now we have a double bottom scenario. We need validation above the 80. Then we have 81, 82, 84, and maybe all the way back to 88. Look left, where price was, where it is now, why it's now here, and where it might be headed next. We have this trend line that will act as a very tough resistance, because as we can see, since January, every time price reached it, got rejected. So let's see if this double bottom will validate all the way at least to the 82, 83 area, somewhere over here, and then bulls will have a very tough test. Natural gas, downtrend until proven otherwise, not looking good. We need, if you are a natural gas bull, we need 210 to hold a support and make some kind of a bounce. Otherwise, 190 will be next. Crude oil, crude oil, doesn't matter. Oil, blue trend line, we know it. We drew it several weeks ago, and we said that once price will reach it, we will have a bounce. And look at that. From 66 all the way to 72, 73, now trying to break up and above the 50% area. Let's see continuation all the way back to this yellow trend line. But on the way we have 74 area, which will be a very tough test for the bulls, because only by looking left, look how many times it acted as support. So now, with high probability, it will give hard time for the bulls. Gold, since it reached once again this trend line, reached here, 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 got rejected. Now it's all about bulls. Does gold bulls have enough power in their hands to bounce maybe off the 1930 back to this red trend line somewhere over here above the 2020 and make another attempt for a break up and above? If they will succeed, 2060 and maybe even all the way to 2140. If they will give up, we have all the levels to the downside for future support. Apple, trend lines, price action, that's it. Look left. This red trend line from resistance, resistance, now support. Now let's see if it can hold as support. Otherwise, we can assume with high probability this blue trend line will be next. Maybe even somewhere here. At the 155, 152 area. But for now, this red trend line is holding as support. Microsoft looks like bulls are taking a breath, a long one, after this bull run. Double bottom, as we identified several weeks ago. Double bottom validation all the way to 284. Now, bulls are taking a breath. If they will take too much time, bears will come in full power, breaking below the 274, 268, and maybe all the way back to 260. 284 needs to break up and above, back to this red trend line, and maybe once and for all, after very tough resistance for the higher highs. Maybe bulls will break up and above. But for now, we need to sit on our hands and wait for market to let us know where Microsoft is heading, up or down. Then we can take a decision. Google, same thing. Double bottom. Now bulls are taking a breath. Let's see, 100 needs to hold. 100 was a very tough resistance. So 100 now needs to act as support. And bulls needs this level to hold. Otherwise, with high probability, 96 and maybe all the way to this red trend line once again. So bulls of Google, it's time for you to wake up. AMD, trend lines are the true support resistance for price action. And I know I sound like a broken record, but this is it. It's only candlestick analysis and the relationship with trend lines and Fibonacci levels. This is not rocket science. Check the links in the description below if you want to learn in-depth candlestick analysis. Stop following others and become your own indicator. Check which program suits for you. The one-on-one live mentorship program or the pre-recorded 6 hours 49 lessons. Both programs, my promise to you, you will become your own indicator. You will stop following others. You will have the power in your hands for your own financial freedom. Nvidia, same story. If you follow me on Twitter and you saw previous videos, all these trend lines, we drew them several weeks ago already, and we see the trend lines are the true support resistance for price action. Now, is Nvidia going back to retest this yellow trend line as support? Because it was a very tough resistance. Let's see where Nvidia is heading. Meta, look how many dojis. Indecision in the market. The battle between bulls and bears is in full power. If this trend line will fail to hold together with the 197, 198 area, we can assume with high probability that this gap will get filled and 175 needs to hold. Otherwise, this gap will get filled. The gap at the 152. We know more than 80% of all gaps will get filled throughout time. It's all a matter of time. Amazon, basically moving sideways, 97 as support, 100 as resistance. So we sit and wait to see where Amazon will take us. Short below, long above. And of course, educational purposes only. Do your own due diligence. Tesla, struggling, but for now holding above the 185. As we can see, we have this red trend line as resistance. We have 185 as support. Price action is getting tighter and tighter. Let's see where Tesla is heading. For now, I sit on my hands and wait. Short below 185. Long above this red trend line. Shopify continuing to play hide and seek with the 45-46 area. As you can see, it's a very tough area for the bulls. Look how many days they tried and failed to close above this area. So if you are long already on Shopify, manage risk accordingly, because if they will give up, if bulls will give up, we have this trend line to hold. And if this trend line will fail to hold, it's going to the downside. 42 and 39 to the downside. But for now, the positive side is this blue trend line is holding as support. Netflix, downtrend, bounce, 618. Doji, trend reversal. Let's see. Doji the most powerful signal in candlestick analysis for a might, what's coming to a trend reversal, in this case to the downside, together with the 618, we have all the signs that we need, that we might need to manage our risk much tighter, because we are going maybe to the downside. 320, 308, and maybe retesting this blue trend line, but with high probability. And what we can see is we need to manage our risk. If we are long already on Netflix, we need to tighten up our stop loss, because this doji of the 618 Fibonacci level trend reversal is coming. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit the like, subscribe, share with friends, will be much appreciated. Don't forget to check the links in the description below. Fibonacci Traders program, the only program with lifetime access, support, guidance, all the Discord channels. Thank you very much for watching. Until the next video, stay safe.